Hey everyone, I don't normally do interviews on Sunday, but when I do, they're special. I'm bringing on a student of mine, someone who has taken the course, taking action, has also found value in the Facebook group, which I am now appreciating more and more. I initially created the Facebook group because I wanted one place for me to answer questions every day. But what I'm seeing now is the Facebook group is actually going to prove to be at least as equal, if not more valuable than the step-by-step course. So we're going to talk about all of that, and we're going to answer a lot of questions for you this morning. So how you doing, Abhishek?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me, Michael.
Absolutely. Thank you for reaching out. I love answering questions, and I really love answering them when I can record it so that
Mhm.
other people can watch it later. So,
I
Abhishek,
like that.
why don't you introduce yourself to the audience, and then I
Mhm.
will turn this over to you, and you will ask me any and all questions.
Sounds like a plan to me. So, hello, everybody. My name is Abhi. I go by Abhi, instead of Abhishek. So, I live in Oakland, which is the Bay Area, similar region to where Michael is from. I've been here about 15 years, and I've been working in the pharmaceutical medical side. And in last couple of years, I moved to cannabis industry, which is very fun. And since everything is getting legalized slowly, it seems like a good gig for myself. So I'm enjoying what I do, but I also want to have some like side hustle going. And through my YouTube videos, I found Michael Zuber, and I started following him for last like few weeks. And I just took his course, and I've been following religiously, and I felt like, oh, this is something I can definitely do. He had done something similar where he was super busy and he put time and keep grinding for years and years. And I want to do the same thing. So that's my quick introduction. Michael, back to
Yeah,
you.
very good, Abhi. No, I think that's great. Again, when I created the course, I knew it would work, right? Because I did it,
Mhm.
right? And really
Yeah.
the key of the course is 10 to 20 minutes a day, consistent action,
Hmm.
focused on a market, focused on an asset. That works.
Yeah. Hmm.
And now that you have that, I can see it working. I see it helping
Yeah.
others. We just saw today in the Facebook group
Hmm.
more and more people doing deals, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But why don't you talk about so the course is clearly valuable. I've kept the price point ridiculously low at
Hmm.
200 bucks.
Yeah.
But why don't you talk about the Facebook group? Because again, that is free. I'm never going to charge
Hmm.
for that. As long as you buy the course, you get to the group. What I'm seeing in the group is just people are positive. Everybody speaks the
Hmm.
same language and everybody
Yeah.
wants, you know, goodness. But curious what you're seeing.
Yeah, thank you, Michael, for saying that. So I joined the Facebook group about like a couple of weeks ago, and there were only, I would say, 280 or some members, and now I believe I can see it's about 328.
Yeah.
So it's growing. That's great. And all the posts I've been reading, and it's fantastic because students are helping students, and
Yeah.
I know you've been saying that a lot, and which is amazing. I see people doing deals on Facebook. They're giving tips. They are talking about the real issues. They're talking about property managers.
Yeah.
They're talking about how to do financing, things like that. So which is very important for me because I'm starting out. My family does own a couple of properties in Asia, but that's Asia, completely different market. This is America. It's different market again. And the most value I get from the Facebook is connecting with students, asking questions.
Yeah.
And what I love is your every Saturday morning, 8 or 9 a.m. Your
Live.
one-on-one Q&A with
Yeah.
students live. Yeah, that is very useful, and I've been following that. Sometimes it's hard to wake up in the morning. I'm not a morning guy, but I and this is the work, and this requires like waking up, hard work, and
Yeah.
grinding. So
Well, the good news is those 9 a.m. sessions on Saturday, which will happen
yeah,
every Saturday. It's
yeah,
30 minutes of my week that I give back to anybody who spent 200 bucks on the course.
yeah,
So that's awesome. So
yeah.
okay, let's step back from the course and the Facebook group and let's
Sure.
answer all your questions. Abby, why don't you go any order, ask any question? Let's just see what happens.
Sounds good. So yeah, I have like 10, 12 questions here. So let's
Sure.
go to the list. So what is the best criteria you look for when you choose your market?
That's a good question. So I only can answer that question with what I did.
Mhm.
So first and foremost for me is I didn't want a town,
Mhm.
right? A town, I don't know the official definition. I called a town anything less than 50,000 people. I thought that was
Mhm.
too small, two probably single employer, kind of tied to one employer, a
Yeah.
manufacturing plant, a naval base, whatever
Yeah.
it is, right? Too risky for me. Um,
Yeah.
so for me, what I ultimately set it on is I wanted 500,000 people. That's
Yeah.
pretty big, right? That's 500,000 people. At least when I was doing it, was probably the top 30, maybe 40 cities,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even Nashville, right? Nashville today is 600,000 people, just to put in scope.
Mm-hmm.
Is 500,000 the right number? Maybe not. That's just what I chose. Is
Mm-hmm.
250 big enough? Maybe. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, what I wanted with population first is a diverse economy. I wanted to see
Mm-hmm.
multiple employers. I wanted to see multiple industries, right?
Yeah.
The
Mm-hmm.
reason I believe San Francisco is in trouble is because it was so single industry
Mm-hmm.
focused, right? It was
Yeah.
tech,
Yeah.
and now it's paying for it. San Diego, when the military
Mm-hmm.
pulled out, right? San Diego is a huge
Mm-hmm.
city, but when the military pulled out, they were hurt for a while. So I wanted diverse. And then
Yeah.
lastly, I didn't appreciate it in the beginning, but it was a part of my criteria, and it actually might be
Yeah.
the most important today. And that
Mm-hmm.
is, I wanted a low average income. What I mean by that is, I grew up in the Bay Area, right? The
Mm-hmm.
average income out here to afford a house is over 200 grand. It's just
Yeah.
ridiculous, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not normal.
Yeah.
When you make 200 grand a year and you're living paycheck to paycheck, that is terrible.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, people in Fresno, when I started buying, could feed a family of four on 50 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was growing up, my family never made 50 grand, right? It was in the 20s. Now, obviously, inflation and all of that. So maybe it
Yeah.
spent like 50, but that's frankly where I was comfortable. I was never comfortable around, I don't know, wealth or high income. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I was deciding. I wanted middle America, average incomes, nothing special, diverse economy, and size. That's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm. This is good. Very helpful, Michael. Appreciate the response here.
Sure.
So, so following question to that is, so what is the most important metric when you look at rental properties?
Oh, there's only one metric for me. It's yield,
So, and
right?
why is that?
Because the only thing I want to know, and it took me a while to get there. I say that cavalier. I say that
Mm-hmm.
quickly now. In the beginning, I didn't know, right? In the beginning, I thought it was cash flow. In the beginning, I thought it was bedroom count. In the beginning, I thought it was unit count. It's not. I want to understand, because when I buy a property, and you have
Mm-hmm.
the spreadsheet, right? You're in the course. This is what my spreadsheet is to me: is how much money comes out of my bank account. Now,
Mm-hmm.
again, that's typically three buckets: down payment, closing
Yeah.
cost, and make ready. Make ready could be zero or a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So what money physically leaves my bank account? And then on the other side, it's what money physically comes back in via
Mm-hmm.
cash flow. I don't
Mm-hmm.
count appreciation. I don't count mortgage pay down. I don't count buying at a discount. I only count cash flow that ends up in my account. And what that allows me to do is it turns that decision, that purchase, that investment into a bond. Hence,
Mm-hmm.
my most important metric is yield. It tells me, quite frankly and simply, how hard my money is working. It's that simple. And that's why I drive people crazy, right? A lot of people in this game that try to help others talk about bigger is better.
Mm-hmm.
I flatly refuse to believe that. I will buy a one bedroom, one bath house all the time if it has a
Mm-hmm.
higher yield than a 20 unit apartment building. And that drives people crazy. And I don't get it. I mean, I am passionately on the side of I will only buy what's the highest yield. So some markets like 2015 to 2018, that was multifamily. I believe 2020 through 2022 will be single family homes. I could be wrong. Believe me, I still use that spreadsheet that you have from the course every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I put decisions in there all the time. And I only choose the highest yield. And that's important for new people like you, Abhi, because when you're in the course, you're doing your daily work. It'll take you 30, 45, maybe 60 days, kind of just repetition.
Yeah.
Then you'll look
Mm-hmm.
at your spreadsheet, and all you got to do is sort by the
Yeah.
highest yield. And then you
Mm-hmm.
have to ask yourself, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that one better? Because maybe you picked it early and you learned later that it's not good. Maybe your repair cost was lower. Maybe you had the rents wrong, or who knows what. But that's how you just keep refining things. You let yield be your driver, in my opinion.
Okay, this is very helpful because one of the So I'm looking at a couple of areas. Looking at Las Vegas actually,
Sure.
and so from my list, I saw there's like a duplex that is giving higher cash flow, but like poor yield. Would
What
you consider
define poor yield, like 2% or
uh,
something?
it's less than 2%?
Yeah. So this is my deal. This is what I want you to do. Don't write an offer until you've at least looked at 100 or 150 properties, right? Don't
Yeah,
write an offer. You can sort, you can gather data, you can get
yeah,
comfortable.
hmm
But what you need to answer first, Abhi, is what
hmm
is average in Vegas? I don't know
hmm
Vegas. For example, I'm just going to make this up. If the average yield in Vegas is 1%,
hmm
just say it's average, then
hmm
your duplex is a good deal at 2%. I'm
yeah,
willing to bet it's not 1%.
yeah,
I'm willing to bet that Las Vegas average yield is probably 4 or 5, just knowing how hot it is today.
yeah,
And thus a 2% is a bad deal. But you
yeah,
won't know that until you've seen 150, you've done this for 30 or 45 days. But you're
yeah,
asking the right questions. Lastly, to the real heart of your question is I don't give a rat's ass what the cash flow is. I don't care. If the
okay,
basically what you told me without telling me is cash flow is great, but I have to put a lot down. That's basically what you told me
yeah,
because
yeah,
your yield was low. So I knew that's what happened. So
yeah.
you just got to get comfortable with the math, keep digging, keep looking, keep at it, dude. Daily execution, 10, 20
Yeah.
minutes. Let's go.
Yep. Great. This is very helpful, Michael. Thank you. Next question. So, should a beginner consider a single family unit or a multi-family unit, which is less than four or less?
I would tell you in the beginning, well, so if you're really early and you don't know yet, I would generally say single family homes just
Mm-hmm.
because you're learning a market. And why I say that is there's more of them. There's
Mm-hmm. Yep.
probably 50 single family homes for every multi.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you in the beginning, if you only look at multifamily, it'll be a slower process to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I think again, you're picking a market like Vegas. I would start with houses.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas
Yeah.
is going to be interesting because I think it changes drastically March, April, May of next year. We'll see. I'm talking to Brian Lebo,
Yeah.
once a
Mm-hmm.
month.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we both think. So again, he's lived there 30 years or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so keep looking, keep grinding. I in the beginning, so in the beginning, I say single family homes to learn the skill.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
after you
Okay.
have the skill, then you can say, okay, great. Now let me look at duplexes through quads. I would
Yes, sir.
not I would not put them in the same spreadsheet, at least in
Mm-hmm.
the beginning. Single family has its own thing, multifamily has its own thing. When you're finally done, maybe after 6 months and you know Vegas cold, then you're going to be like me, right? I put all my Fresno for me, everything goes in the same spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
Condos, houses, duplexes, quads, apartments, all the same spreadsheet. But it takes time. It takes time to get there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a work, and like you said, uh, 45, 60 days, 90 days. That's the
That's the
that's the
magic.
answer. That's the magic. And also, 2020 has been crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody knows. So
Yeah,
it's
the
gonna
supply.
take longer.
I mean, to think that Vegas again. Brian and I are like laughing when we're not recording, right? When we talk for
Yeah.
like 5 minutes before we hit record,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, dude, I don't get it. I mean, we've had 5, 6 months in a row of record
Yeah.
prices, but they have 20% unemployment and
Mm-hmm.
87% rent collection. It's dire, but yet prices are up, and it's all because 2020's bananas. There's no inventory.
Yeah.
It's gonna change in Vegas for sure.
I hope so. Cool. This is great. So next one is, what are your thoughts on being a property manager?
I think it's the hardest job on the planet. I do.
uh,
And I cold called for a living. Back in the day, I picked up the phone and called 100 times a day. I would rather do that again than be a property manager. I came into real estate investing because I wanted my freedom.
mm,
I don't want headaches. I don't want to be stressed out. Property managers, every phone call they get, somebody's upset. Something's broken, something's late. I mean, nobody calls a property manager when they're having a good day. Hey, I'm having a great day. Thanks for this safe and luxurious place. They only call when shit breaks or they want to bitch about their neighbor or they want to delay
yep.
rent or I could never do that job. I need to be a positive person. I need to be around positive energy. I could never be a property manager.
So follow up question. So on that. So how do you screen your tenants?
So I don't screen my tenants. What I have done is I've created a box, a criteria: minimum credit
Mhm.
score, minimum income to rent, minimum rental history, references, length of time in job, credit
Mhm.
score. And I've given that to my property manager. And if they find an applicant that says yes to every one of those, they get a yes answer from me. I, I am not involved in that decision. And if one of those is a no, they move on to the next one.
Cool. Do you recommend slumlord properties or pride of ownership for a first-time buyer?
Well, it depends. Again, I would tell you it depends on your numbers, right?
Mhm.
I would tell you in 2019, so last year, pride of ownership was the better number because you didn't get these inflated prices. Today, pride of ownership's ridiculous. For example, there was a house that I would have sold as a pride of ownership for 180. It sold
Mhm.
to an owner occupant for 201. It made
Oh
sense
wow.
to a landlord at 180. It was a average plus deal at 180.
Mhm.
It's a shitty deal at 201. So in 2019, again, because I know my market, pride of ownership was the answer. 2020, it's probably better to buy a dump. Again, that's my market. I don't know Vegas at all.
Mhm.
But again, that's the beauty of that spreadsheet, that yield, man.
Mhm.
The freaking
Yeah.
yield is magical. What I'm giving you there
Yeah.
is the decoder ring. As the
Yeah.
market evolves,
Mhm.
different answers will come. Like 2012 to 15, a
Yeah.
multifamily
Mhm.
started to change. Then it's single family. Then it's single family turnkey or pride of ownership. Now it's single family dump.
So,
It's the only reason it's better is because I don't
mhm.
have those. I don't have owner occupants bidding up 10%, 12%. It's crazy today, man. It's bananas.
Yeah, I mean, living in Bay Area for so long, I exactly know what you mean.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. I know San Francisco is definitely going to be in big trouble, like you've been saying.
Hmm.
And a lot of my friends, like my company is based in San Francisco, and a lot of employees, my coworkers, they are living in SF and they are already moving out. They're doing remote work.
Yep.
It's just, it cannot afford, and the rents have been plummeting 25, 30%, or probably more.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Next one. If a person chooses an average deal and accidentally creates an alligator, what do you recommend the next step is?
Well, you've got to figure out what's going on. So I created an alligator. You read it in my book, and my
Mm-hmm.
only answer was to hold on to it. Yeah, the market was going in my favor. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I just kept it, right. If the market had turned against me,
Mm-hmm.
it would have probably been easier to sell and take a loss. You've got to figure out where you are. Alligator properties, most of the time need to be sold, getting rid of because they cost you money every month. But if you're in an environment like we are now where rates are coming
Mm-hmm.
down
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
you could refi in a year and maybe get closer to break even. If you're buying a house and rents will go up in the next year and you could limp through, you just got to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Having an alligator and kind of sticking your head in the ground and hoping it goes away is not an option. Alligators will eat you. That's the only picture in my book, right? There's an alligator eating a bag full of
Yeah.
money. It's the only
Yep.
picture because it's that important. You need to have a plan, right? If you buy a good deal, and that's why I tell people when they buy their first investment to buy it and then sit tight for 6 months. Keep
Yeah.
looking, keep researching,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to test yourself. How are your numbers? Do you have Excel cash flow or real cash flow?
Yeah.
Do you have real cash flow or an alligator? Um,
Yeah.
you got to be you got to figure it out. And yeah, so that's you got to have a plan. Once you're into it 6 months and it's negative all 6 months, you need to figure it out. What's going on? Where repairs done with band-aids versus a remodel? Where is the rent less than I thought? Is my property manager stealing from me? Is my debt too expensive? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, you got to figure it out, and you've got to solve the problem. Do not avoid alligators suck because alligators will prevent you from buying more. That's the
Mm-hmm.
real problem
Mm-hmm.
because they'll discourage you. You'll be like, that hurts. I mean, I remember every month I wrote that mortgage payment, right? I think the mortgage payment was like $1,203 and my rent was like 1,100. So even if there were no expenses, I was losing. I felt stupid every time I wrote that freaking check.
I can imagine that. So, to follow up question on that,
Mhm.
the accidental deal with the alligator. So, what is the cushion? What is the average cushion that people should look for between the cash flow and the all the expenses?
Yeah, I mean that's hard for me to say because a house is different than a duplex and a quad. But I'll answer a house, which is the skinniest. I would want somewhere less than 150 bucks real cash flow. That's getting pretty close, right? You're one maintenance call from break even.
Mm,
That said, I mean, let's just answer the question fully. I did a deal last year, or maybe it was the year before,
mhm.
when I only had $100 cash flow, but it was zero down. Right. So, and again, I have more experience and I've done this longer and I have more assets to divide it. So again, realize I have exceptions.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, generally speaking, your first investment, a house, 150, a duplex would be more, a quad would be more, obviously.
Mm. Yeah.
So
Okay, that's helpful, definitely. Next one. So I recently saw your 30-day challenge spreadsheet via YouTube video,
yeah,
which I am studying. And
cool.
so, how do you recommend a beginner connect with, let's say, new agents, contractors, title agents, wholesalers, etc.?
So agents is the easiest. If you're doing the
Mm-hmm.
homework, like I tell you, you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at properties and all of them have a listed agent. I would call them and say, "Hey, I'm Abby from California. I'm looking to invest in Las Vegas. I saw your listing at 123 Main Street. I have a
Mm-hmm.
question." Right? So then you ask your intelligent question. And then you say, "Okay, great. This is probably not a deal for me. I would like to let you know I'm looking for 3 bedroom, 2 baths in this area, this zip code, this price point. If you find something, let me know."
Mm-hmm.
Right? Again, it's not about how many people you know in Vegas. It's how many people in Vegas know you, but more importantly, know you and what you're looking for. So use every conversation to ask questions. The second thing I would do is I would look for students also looking at Vegas, because it's amazing if you
Mm-hmm.
find a student or an
Yeah.
actual investor in Vegas, they can make referrals, right? It kind of shortcuts that. So
Mm-hmm.
one thing I would do, because you're in my Facebook group, is say, "Hey, anybody else investing in Vegas?"
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a guy named Jeffrey in the group who has done some work in Vegas, or at least he's talked about it over
Yeah.
time. But there are probably others. And that's the beauty of a growing group and students helping students. So I'd probably post that question and say, "Hey, I'm a new investor looking to invest in Vegas. I'm like this area. Anybody want to connect or chat or,
Mm-hmm.
share references or whatever?"
Yeah, this is definitely good. I can see on the Facebook chats, Jeffrey has been talking a lot, so that's good. We
Yeah.
will definitely reach out to him.
Cool.
Great. So, what kind of banks do you recommend uh, for the first-time buyer for loans?
Yeah, I would go to the bank, whoever has your checking and savings account. They have all your
Okay.
financial records. They have incentive to keep you. They have incentive to give you the best price because they don't want you to go somewhere else. So for your first 4 loans, go to the bank that has all your money. After that, maybe you go to a mortgage broker and see loans 5 through 10. And then after that, it's kind of commercial banks, savings and loans, stuff like that. But the first
Okay.
four, don't overthink it.
Yeah. Sounds good. So, next one, it's a little different. What are you going? When are you going to add more content on your educational videos? With I believe you're working with April Crossley on
Yeah,
some of
I'm
the
going to
content.
add a private money section. My goal
Mm-hmm.
is by January 1st, I am going to get at least 3 people adding content as well. April
Mm-hmm.
Crossley has agreed. She unfortunately suffered a loss in her family recently, so it might be delayed. If you know
Yeah.
April, send her your heartfelt condolences. She lost her grandmother, and if you know April, she has been posting about her grandmother for as long as I've known her. They have a special bond, so
Mm-hmm.
that loss is going to hurt. So if you're a good person and everybody in my course is a good person, please reach out to April Crossley and just say, "Hey, we're thinking about you. Um, remember the good times, condolences." That would be wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a good thing to do. And then second, a gentleman I know, Jason Pritchard, who has raised millions of dollars in private capital. He has one of the best um, investor decks I've seen. So he's agreed, and I'll find somebody else as well. So that the goal for that is January 1st. And Abby, because you're in the group, it won't cost you a penny. There's a chance I raised the price for new students, given all the content and help I'm getting from others. I haven't decided.
Yeah.
But if you buy the course in 2020, you will not pay for that extra section.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course.
Those are the questions I had. So let me ask you this. So what tips would you give to someone in my position or someone who's starting out or will be starting out soon? Like, what is the motivational
Yeah.
aspects can you provide to people to
Step
get them
one.
going?
Yeah. So step one is I wrote this book because I wanted you to believe and have confidence, right?
Yeah.
That I don't know if you saw yesterday's live Q&A, but there was one comment in there that still bothers me. I've talked about it twice today, and I'll probably talk about it 2 more times. Somebody near the end of it talked about being hopeless. That really bugs me. Because if you know anything about my story and history, uh, you know anything about the people we interview on this channel, we've all come from very little.
Yeah.
Um, and as the course is, it's simple, but it requires daily execution.
Yeah.
And frankly, not everybody wants to work. Lots of people want to look and talk about the easy button and, here's some money and make it simple. That's not how life works. You've got to be willing to work for stuff. I've honed my craft in my market for 20 years, getting a little better every day. And that's what I teach. And if you're going to buy my course, you're going to work. I'm not going to do it for you. It's just not
Yeah.
going to happen. No interest in that. But I show you the way. I now have a Facebook group with other people that think the same way. It's awesome. If you feel hopeless, buy the course, get in the group, just watch the content in the group. Almost
Yeah.
every other day now, we're having students saying, we got a deal, we got a deal, we got a
Yeah.
deal, we made an offer, we got a deal.
Yeah.
That group is going to be, as it grows, right? I have 1,000 students, only 300 and some are in the group. As these grow, it's going to be amazing. And, I can't wait till we have 1,000, 10,000 students. It's just going to become a very happy place because everybody speaks the same language and all of that. So don't feel hopeless. It takes work. But I promise you, it'll feel different after 30 days. It'll feel different after 60 days.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I want you to remember is 2020 is weird. And what I want you to take away from this is I've been buying stuff for 20 years. I've written 250 offers this year and got nothing. But remember, that's because I only do good and great deals. And back to your earlier question, when owner occupants are spending 201 on something worth 180, I shouldn't do that deal. So the best posts I see in our Facebook group is, hey, I made an offer. They countered and I said no. When you say no, that is powerful. You know your numbers, you know your yield. Move on to the next one. 2020 is practice for most of us. But 2021, when the inventory comes back, you will be ready. You're going to, and the beauty of looking at your market every day is you will see it turn before anybody else. If you're looking at a certain zip code and asset type, you're going to notice, oh, another listing, another listing, another listing. You'll see it a month or 2 before anybody else. It's magical when you do the work.
This is great. Thank you for those motivational words, and definitely reading the book and all you said about keep grinding, hardworking is not easy money.
Yeah.
And just, I think if we in general, like me coming from Asia, like every day, day in day out, 20 years, grinding in, grinding out, being where I am,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. Otherwise, I'll be standing here. So
you got it. You'll get there. Just, yeah. The other thing I would tell you is don't add too much pressure. Spend 20 minutes and move on. Sometimes people, they want to, I don't know what it is. I mean this when I say it. It's only 20 minutes a day. If you're coming back to me and say, Michael, I'm spending an hour a day, aren't I getting 3 times smarter? No, you are wasting 40 minutes. Life is hard. You and I have 24 hours in the day. Most people that follow me have a day job. Most people that follow me have family responsibilities. I only want 20 minutes. The first week you're doing the work, sure, maybe that's 30 minutes or 45 minutes as you get comfortable with the spreadsheet and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're doing daily stuff, 20 minutes in, out, gone. And don't you dare tell me you're going to give me 4 hours on Saturday, but you can't give me anything Sunday through Friday. Don't don't you bother. You are going to miss so many things. The course is written on purpose to help you. The course is focus and daily execution. And if you're not willing to focus or daily execution, don't bother.
Yeah. Wonderful. This is great. Really appreciate all the answers here and all the. I took a bunch of notes here, so that's
good.
That will be definitely going to be helpful. Yeah, that's it from my side. Back to you, Michael.
All right, Abhi, thank you very much for doing this. This is I don't normally do Sunday interviews, so this was important. I appreciate you. I know how busy you are. I'm going to save this and upload this today. You have a wonderful day, okay?
All right, thank you so much. Have a good one, Michael.
Thank you, buddy.